policy. Talent, not titles. I like it. But could it transform the way we work and the way we enjoy our working life? It's the idea that we shouldn't just fill a bunch of set titles, but get hold of the best people and put them to work in the best way we can find, rather than the other way around. I like it. The stats are telling us as well, more than 70% of people feel like their career isn't fulfilling and that their skills aren't being put to the test. Wow, it's a huge number. It's a feeling that Start Now founder Melissa Jenner knows only too well, but she reckons she's found some solutions in her company's new service called Human Innovation, and she joins us now. Good to have you on the program. G'day.
Good morning.
I'm not going to give you any title, is that okay? You're a founder of a company, is that fair?
That'll do for me.
Talent, not titles. It's all about titles, isn't it, really, in the world?
I think we've got sort of stuck in this way of hiring people and managing people around status and titles and putting them into jobs, when actually we should be hiring people for their potential.
So how would a job ad read then? So job ads need to be turned around. Would you have a job ad?
I think you can still have job ads and you can still bring people into your company to fulfill a function.
Yes.
But what you don't want to do is set and forget. So hire someone, for example, to be an analyst who actually has a lot more creative opportunity and impact that they can offer your firm. So if you bring them in as a data analyst and they're really good at that, what else can they do?
Yeah, true.
What else can you have them?
Sometimes when you look at situations vacant, not that I do, but when you see a situation's vacant, they used to be in the papers all the time, pages and pages of them, and it said, wanted, a genius. That's kind of what you're talking about, isn't it? Someone that has got this big brain that can do all these things, but not necessarily one title.
Well, we're all really creative. I think that everyone has creativity in them. We all have to get a job. We all have to have an income. But it's like, how do I fulfill my potential? How do I continue to learn, continue to grow, and continue to create value for my organisation?
People are unhappy in their jobs, so tell me about the stats.
Well, Gartner tells us that 61% of New Zealanders are actually disengaged, which means 2 out of 3 people in your company, if you're an employer, are probably unhappy thinking about something else, which is a problem for you.
2 out of 3?
In terms of, I don't want to say who here, but it's a problem for companies because that leads to lack of productivity. You were talking earlier about people going off sick. That's a sign. That's a sign that people are disengaging. And
they hang around the kitchen, they hang around the water cooler, and they do everything but to work.
Yeah, because you haven't found a way to engage them. You haven't found a way to unlock their creativity. And we call that an innovation problem.
Well, it's also a time problem. Bosses need to sit down with their people and learn about them.
Dialogue.
Talking.
We're humans.
Yeah. What else could this person do? Some of the best people in your organisation, they go up and down the lift every day and you don't even realise what skills they have.
And they're talking to their friends and they're talking to people outside of your organisation about what they can do, and they're talking to us. I speak to hundreds of people who say to me they're really actually quite sad because they want to contribute more and they don't feel like anyone in the organisation is listening. So how can we open up that dialogue and make it easy for people?
One of the interesting things when I was looking at you is that you used to live in New York and you survived the World Trade Center terror attack. So what impact did that have on you, and also your outlook on life and your career and where you were heading? Yeah.
Well, I think what it proved to me was, obviously it was a very, very distressing time for me, but what it proved to me is the impact that work has on your life. So you go to work every day, you spend so much time at work, 2/3 of your life is kind of spent in the office or in the workplace, and that has a huge impact on your self-esteem and your self-identity. And so if that starts to be attacked by you're not feeling included, you're not feeling like you're valued, it can really erode your confidence.
It's who you become, isn't it?
I just want to know, because I understand on that day in the World Trade, when the terror attack happened, you were actually running late for work.
Yes, I was.
Are you able to tell us about that? What happened?
Sure. I was running late for work, so fortunately that's why I'm here today. Yeah, I just got to the office a little bit later. I had a very full life, and going out late on a Monday night ended up saving my life. So, yeah,
what floor were you on in the office?
105th floor. Yeah.
And would you normally have been there?
Yeah, normally. I was late for a meeting. I should have been there.
And what time should you have been at the...
8 o'clock.
You should have been at the World Trade Center at 8 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
And the planes hit?
8:48, my building.
Bang, you would have been gone.
Oh.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Being late's okay.
Yeah, I think to take that out of it is,
I wonder you're positive. Yeah.
Well, I think what it taught me more than anything is that your work colleagues are your family. When you go to the funerals of people that have you've been working with, you realise the impact that they have in your life. I mean, I think you guys have got a great team here, and I think when you can create that sense of family in the workplace, and I worked in some great organisations that have created that environment, it actually makes you feel really empowered as a human.
You know, that's so important. I come to work, and I have done actually for the entire time in journalism, I'm not on a holiday, but I feel like I'm not working. I've always wanted to be.
That's the dream.
Since I was 14. And it is the dream, actually, and I'm really lucky. But just back to New York, because this astounds me. You know, all these people died. Thousands of people died in the buildings that went down. And there were so many people, it's hard to put a face on the names because there were just so many. But you, to me, are the face of someone we may not have known and not have seen ever again, but because you're here, you survived, because you didn't turn up on time, that you are that person for me. Which is quite, I don't know if I've said it very well, but it's you are that remarkable person.
Thanks. And since then, I've reinvented myself many times. So I had to leave New York, come back to New Zealand, take on a job that I'd never done before. And I've done that 3 or 4 times in my life, and I've learned how to have the courage, to have the courageous conversations that I need to have to get what I want out of work. So I want to encourage other people to do that.
I'll just take you back to why I'm desperately unhappy here. And
He works next to me.
employment contracts, though, and this is something that employers like because it takes a lot of risk out for them, is to offer short-term contracts based on a specific job, hire people to do that job, get that job done, organisations goes well and operates well. That goes against everything you're really saying, doesn't it?
I'm going to be a little bit controversial here, and don't apologise for this, because I think we need to see a sea change in the way we run our organisations. I think that can become a little bit lazy and complacent, because I think we hide behind that. And in fact, if you speak to any employment lawyers, and we work with a great employment lawyer at Brown and Bates in Napier, if you speak to employment lawyers, what they will tell you is that actually having a dialogue, a human-to-human dialogue with your employees, is completely okay, and it doesn't signal any employment-related issues.
Because it seems
so. I think we hide behind that. Yes, and that's where we get this Mexican standoff, because employers don't want to talk to their employees, even though they know they're unhappy, and employees don't want to talk to their employers because we don't want to say, "I'm not happy," because then we might find ourselves.
The best
but actually,
bosses,
you can have that dialogue quite safely and quite comfortably.
The best bosses are, you don't need anything in writing with me, but my best bosses, I've always understood the expectation.
Yeah.
Always understood it. You don't need to write it down. If you write it down, that would annoy me.
And there are great leaders in New Zealand who understand this already, but unfortunately they're not the majority. And I think what we've come up with at Start Now is a really simple, I call it, we've basically boxed simplicity and safety. Because when you bring creativity into the workforce and you actually allow people to start imagining and talking creatively, it takes away that fear. It takes away that, oh, I'm suddenly having a performance conversation with you. No, we're just spitballing some ideas about how you could create more value for yourself and for my organisation. And when you take away that fear and you create, an environment of safety, and we give companies a really simple process to follow, which allows them to kind of explore with people
I'm with
what
you on
else
this.
they can
Fear nothing on this program. Fear nothing. Fear nothing. Talk about everything.
And are you happy? Are you loving what you're doing?
Do you know what? I do love what I do, but I'm a classic startup entrepreneur. I don't make much money out of it. But I love it, and I have found my passion, because helping people be happy at work and finding meaning and creativity at work is a great purpose, and I really enjoy it.
Fantastic.
It's lovely to meet you. Are you scared of high-rise buildings now? Do you go into?
I was for a long time, and getting on planes, but I've overcome those fears. A lot of people go through things in their life that are difficult, and you have to
Well, it's not your time.
work through it.
Yeah, lovely to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Very best. Really lovely to meet you.